It's November 17th, 2022. I don't know why I always say that. I know it's not necessary. I think it's a habit because I was a vlogger for so long. Anyway, all I know is that it's close to Thanksgiving break. And I'm going away to a cabin with my dog. And my kids are going to be with their dad. And I am going to celebrate Thanksgiving by myself. And I have conflicted feelings about Thanksgiving, but I digress. I respect and honor the indigenous people. Anyway, I'm going to do a general reading this morning. I'm playing with this new deck. You know what? My student gave me this deck because my students know that I do tarot, and sometimes they ask me to do tarot readings for them, and I keep it real, like, simple, and like, oh, you're on a journey, you're growing, you have a light inside, you know, for the kids. But she brought me this beautiful brand new deck. She says, "Yeah, Miss Smith, I bought this at a bookstore." Actually, ironically or interestingly, maybe it's not ironic, she said she got it at a Christian bookstore. And I was like, huh, these Christian bookstores are a lot different than when I was a kid. Anyway, she's like, yeah, I got it at a Christian bookstore for $40, and I'm never gonna use it. It's yours now. So thank you very much. So I'm really in love with it for that reason. I'm pulling Eight of Wands, Seven of Coin. I'm gonna pull one more. And Nine of Coins. Okay. Let's see what happens here. I'm going to pull one of these oracle cards for overall energy because I love these oracle cards too. I don't know. I only have like 3 decks of things and I am in love with all of them. So, oh, there we go. Appreciate. There you go. I was just talking about Thanksgiving. I know that everybody acts like Thanksgiving is supposed to just be a holiday of gratitude, but we all know that when we were growing up, they made us dress up like pilgrims and Indians, and it was about how the pilgrims came and made friends with the Indians. I digress again. This isn't a political video. I apologize. It's on my mind. Okay, appreciate. 8 of Wands, 7 of Coins, 9 of Coins, and now I'm going to clarify with some tarot, okay? I have been meditating a lot on gratitude. You know how they always say, wait a second, I digress again. They always say that you should wake up early. Like, you should wake up at 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning, right? And it'll transform your life. And whenever they talk about it, or maybe this is just what I see on social media, they always talk about like how you have to get up and grind, and you should be like waking up early and going to the gym and doing yoga at sunrise and et cetera, and making a green smoothie. Um, well, I've been waking up early, but I've just been waking up early and like taking my dog out, maybe doing a little stretching. But like I just drink my coffee. Look at this coffee mug. mm. And I meditate and I do tarot and I journal. And it is transformative, but you don't have to grind. That's all I'm saying. I think what it is, again, I digress. I think what it is that the reason it's transformative is because you're giving yourself whatever that means to you, and it doesn't have to be the same every single day. Some days I do work out. Some days I just take a long shower. Some days I make breakfast. It's different every day. But the point is that you're giving yourself your first and best energy of the day. Not your leftover energy. I hope I have enough energy left at the end of the night after taking care of everybody else in the world. After I'm a teacher all day and I'm taking care of my kids and I'm taking care of my dog and then I'm checking on my husband and then I'm checking on my friends and then, I have to take care of the house. And I hope I have enough energy left at the end of the day for myself, because that's not the way it works, in particular for women, in particular for mothers, but for all people. We get worn down by the day. You don't know what's going to happen. So when you put yourself first in the beginning of the day and you give yourself like that solid 2 hours, if that means you have to wake up early, that's what I do. And it's just this way that you're communicating to yourself on every level, that you come first. Everybody else gets my leftover energy. I get my first and best energy. And so, gratitude practice has been part of my 4:55 a.m. Why 4:55? I don't know, because I had resistance to waking up at in the 4 o'clock hour. I only wanted to wake up at 5. I was like, no, if I see that 4, it's going to be too early. And so I was like, well, I'll just inch it. I'll inch it back a little bit until I get used to it. Oh, wow. King of Wands on the bottom of the deck, but I also have Queen of Wands here. I'm just going to go one at a time. So, clarifying the 8 of Wands, I've got 2 of Swords, King of Cups, and the Magician. Look, I know I say this to you all the time, but honestly and truly, this entire matrix, this entire life that we're living is a game of energy. It truly is. You know that it is. And you know that no matter what has ever happened over your lifetime, all the things that have really worked out great for you, where everything just clicked into place like magic and it just worked, were times where you were making decisions based off of your internal compass and you were not distracted by your fears, by what everybody else was doing, what you thought things were supposed to be. And really, any moment in your life where you were feeling like you were having so much resistance and difficulty, like making a decision about what direction to go in or what you wanted to do or what you should do or what you should say or what you should feel, etc., it was all because you were so caught up in like fear and control and insecurity, etc., in your hurt, etc., etc., low vibration feelings. Whereas when you have put faith in yourself, you have always gone in the right direction and things have worked out for you every single time. And that, like, I'm not a Christian anymore, but there's this part in the Bible, in the Old Testament, I think, where it just says, it has a list. I just remember this. There's like a list of all the things that God had ever done, right? Remember when God did this and he did this and he saved these people and he saved this guy. And it's just like this long list of all these things that God has done. Well, now I know that my inner being is God in my reality. And so I could go back and I could just make this long list. Remember when my inner being did this and they did this and they did this and this thing worked out and you took this risk on yourself out of faith and you did this thing out of faith and you believed here and everything just kept working out for you. And the blessing in that is that this is what you have learned through that, right? This is what you have learned through that no matter what is going on, the trick, no matter whatever tumultuous waves are going on around you, you have learned the secret to going inward, to waking up at 4:55 a.m., going inward, doing some journaling, doing that internal work to balance your emotions, remember who you really are, remember that your inner being is taking care of you, letting go of fear, it's all the matrix, And that's what makes those decision making moments where you can't see the way feel a lot easier. And that's where your power of manifestation lies. You know, that's what makes you a powerful manifester, is realizing that your ego, you do not have to manifest anything. You're not creating anything. It's not like it's not here and you have to create it and you have to figure it out. No, you just have to go inward and trust your inner being. Trust the God of your universe. Mm, my coffee is so perfect this morning. Speaking of things I'm grateful for. Oh. Okay. Next. I have the Emperor, 4 of Cups, and the 10 of Cups, clarifying 7 of Coins. So, you know what? You know what I'm feeling right now? I'm seeing this Emperor. I am not good at going backwards when I'm looking in the camera. When I'm looking at this Emperor and this 4 of Cups, I've had multiple opportunities offered to me that I said no to because I felt like they were coming from good sources by the Matrix standard. The Matrix standard, the establishment, the game, you know. I've gotten to a point in my life where like I know how to win the game if I want to play it. I could win the game. I could be so good at it, but I guess that's one of the downfalls of becoming awake. I don't want to play the game anymore. Success in the game doesn't mean anything to me anymore. And so here I am, like, no, you know what? I don't care about that anymore. I don't care about playing the game anymore. This whole school year, that's my whole vibe that nobody at work is going to understand because they're not going to understand. Nobody's going to understand. That's okay. You know, it's not for them to understand. But I guess the point is just I'm seeing this as really like, you know what? Success in the Matrix isn't real success. It's all a facade. Security in the Matrix isn't real security. You know, you think that because you have a quote unquote good job and a good salary and a pension or something that like that provides you with security. It definitely doesn't. We don't even need to talk about the economy, okay? But you have to realize you're a free spirit. You're not meant to be in this rat race. And my idea of what 10 of Cups and total fulfillment looks like to me is so different now that I have let go of my idea of what success is supposed to mean defined by the Matrix for me. I can define my own success. And that's very freeing, and that's the journey that I've been on. And lastly, oh, and you know what? I want to come back to this because yesterday I made a video about how I was overdrawn at my bank, which hasn't happened to me in a very, very long time. I don't know if it's happened to me in the last 10 years, even when I had a lot less money than I do now. And I was like, wow, I think that's an indication that inflation is really real. Time for me to take notice, maybe a little bit more than I had thought. Because I just been living my life. But yesterday when that happened, and as I said, like I have been waking up and I've been doing my gratitude journal and all of this. And like I said, redefining what success means to me on my terms, knowing that I'm Neo in the Matrix, but I'm not of the Matrix. And so there's nothing against like enjoying physical things. Of course I enjoy physical abundance. You know, I grew up in the church where they just preached like humility all the time, like pride is just the worst sin of all, and how dare you want to not be poor because it's the poor that God really loves. Anyways, I digress for all of you who are Christians. But it really gets drummed into you from every angle of the matrix and the elite and their agenda to make us want to be poor and demonize having things. So like I'm not saying that, that's not my thing. However, there's a big difference between enjoying, material wealth and wanting things. Of course I do. Of course we all do. It's like a pleasure of being in this life to drink good coffee, etc., etc. And to have bomb earrings that literally, not these earrings, but I bought these new earrings. When I wear them, I literally feel like the baddest bee in the world because I shaved my head and I bought these earrings. And it was just like, wow. Talk about a $7 glow up. You know what I'm saying? What was my point? Oh, my perspective on what wealth and abundance means to me, knowing that I'm Neo in the Matrix, but I'm not of the Matrix, and I don't have to play the game. I'm not in the rat race. I refuse to be in the rat race. I recognize that my power, my wealth, my success does not come from my job. My job is like this construct of this game that I'm playing, of this character that I'm playing in this movie of life. Let's move on. Lastly, clarifying the Nine of Pentacles, which I want to say, I'm divorced. I've been divorced since 2014, however many years that is, almost 9 years. Wow, that just hit. I've been divorced almost 9 years. That's a long time. And I'm still trying to heal from it. Okay. You know what? In that time, I did figure out and I did achieve my Nine of Pentacles. I can say that, honestly. I really love this. I really love this card. I want you to see this card. I love this card with the flowers and everything on it. I just absolutely love it. And it reminds me of the tarot card where they're surrounded by their garden. I did achieve that. And then it was like, great. Congratulations. Well done. You did it yourself. The younger version of me at 30 who was a stay-at-home mom. And I was happy, for the most part, like when I was younger and I was married and we had a family and a home and everything. But there was this part of me that needed to know if I was capable of doing it on my own. Because I had never lived on my own. I didn't have my own apartment for the first time, or my first car of myself. My first car of my own until after I was divorced. And that was the first time that I ever had my first apartment, or like had a real job, and took care of all my own business and paid for everything myself and traveled and whatever, right? And so I had this need to figure out if I, could do this. And then, of course, I did. And then I was like, well, actually, that's not as big of a deal as I thought it was. Lots of people are out here being adults. And I can be one. I can be an adult too. It's not that glamorous. Well, having my own apartment felt pretty glamorous at the time. But at any rate, and now it's just like the natural way of your being. It's your nature as a spiritual being in this physical life to always keep expanding. It's not something you have to worry about. It's not something you have to force. You're always going to be expanding. You can't stop yourself from expanding any more than you can stop a tree from growing, unless it's dead. And then I think even if a tree dies, it returns to the earth just like we do. Anyways, I digress. Oh, that coffee. You know what it is? I got Starbucks peppermint beans and I have peppermint creamer in my coffee, and it's just like, it's one of those things that just makes life worth living. It's the simple pleasures in life. So I have the Queen of Wands, and I've got the King of Wands at the bottom of the deck. And I confess, my husband is a Leo, and whenever I see the King of Wands card, I always think of him. That's just me. But we've got the King of Wands and the Queen of Wands, clarifying the Nine of Coins with, I can't read backwards, Seven of Cups. And the Six of Wands. And you know what? As I'm thinking about the Seven of Cups and the Queen of Wands and the King of Wands, and I'm thinking about my husband too. But I'm thinking about that fire Leo, like divine masculine energy, right? And you know what? That type of energy, that divine masculine, regardless of your gender, but that divine masculine fire energy is so much like, you know what? If it's not right for me, if I'm not feeling it, then you literally couldn't force me to put energy into it, because I literally couldn't care less. Like if there's a thing at work, and even though I'm a water sign and I'm a woman, I have a lot of this energy in me. And if there's a task or if there's a thing in life, whatever it is, and I'm not into it, you couldn't force me to put energy into it at all. And there's no decision necessary. And especially the older I've gotten and the more fire that I've acquired in my soul, that's really been my decision-making compass now. It's like, does it make me feel excited? Because if I feel excited about it, if I feel passionate about it, believe me, I'm going to go after it. It doesn't even matter if it's scary. It doesn't even matter if it's intimidating. If I feel like it's exciting, I'm going to go after it. If I feel like I'm excited about it, like I feel passionate about it, I'm fired up about it, I don't even care if I fail. I just want to try it, because the trying of it, the experiencing of it, the investigating of it, the researching of it with that passion is the whole point of it. That's how I want to feel in my life. I want to feel like I'm on fire for something, right? I want to feel like I'm excited to do something in my day. And so when I'm going after something that I'm excited about, there's like no choice. There is no choice. Like, I'm just going after what I want to go after. I'm not even afraid if I fail. And if it's not for me, and I don't, and the way I determine more and more, is that right for me or is it not right for me? It's just like an easy, like, knee-jerk, intuitive reaction. Does that seem exciting? Does that seem exciting? Does that seem interesting? Does that make me feel curious? Well, then I'm gonna investigate it, even if it makes me feel uncomfortable, even if it makes me feel intimidated. Kind of like this little side gig that I have going on right now at work. It is stretching me. It makes me feel a little challenged. It makes me feel a little uncomfortable, and I'm not afraid of that. I'm not gonna shy away from that. I don't know if like it's gonna go anywhere, but I'm just like, you know what? Let's just try it. Let's just see what happens. And and with this is a weird story. Maybe not. Maybe this is a weird connection. But you know what? In my previous life, when I was married, I was a singer. And my ex-husband is a professional musician. And he and I did music together at church and other things. And one time I'm at this service. There's like, I don't know, a few hundred people there. And I'm singing, and I'm like a soloist, right? I'm a soloist, so nobody is doing anything except listening to me sing. And I went for like that high note, right? Like this is the peak of the song, and my voice cracked. And, I was like a professional. So, what can you do? Like, you just keep going. You just finish the song and you walk off stage gracefully. And what I discovered through that whole time in my life when I was a singer, because it's not like the only time that ever happened, there were other times where I forgot the words to a song, so I just sang the same verse twice. You know what I mean? Other things inevitably that happened where I messed up. And what I realized was that later on, like after the service, person after person after person would come up to me and say, "Oh, that was so beautiful. You're such a wonderful singer." And not a single person was like, "Oh, yeah, that note, that was funny." Like, not a single person. You know what? When people see you going after going after things, and they see your attitude and your grace of being willing to get up there, whatever that means in your life, they see you being willing to try it, and you have the confidence and the boldness necessary to try it, but the humility to be like, "Hey, you know what? Like, I'm just trying it. I'm just going to go for it." People really admire and respect that, because that is just on a human level. That point of vulnerability is different for all of us. There's so many people who the idea of getting up and singing in front of a crowd of people, that would just make them feel incredibly nervous, right? For me, that's not a point of nervousness, but there are other things that make me feel vulnerable. And so the whole concept of like, wow, you see somebody going after something, regardless of whether they knock it out of the ballpark or they stumble, people admire that. And you have to own the process. And like I said before, being fired up about something, going after stuff that you care about, that you feel curious about, that you're like, "You know what? This intimidates me, so I'm going to tackle it for that reason alone." And it's not even about whether or not I succeed or fail. I'm going to learn something. You know what? Speaking of this energy, yesterday my husband, who's a Leo, right? And he really embodies this energy. He sent me a message yesterday saying how he was trying a different thing at work. And he started to say, he's like, "Yeah, it's not going very well." But then he changed what he said, and he said, "You know what? I am learning a lot today." He's like, "It's great. I am learning so much. I am growing, and it's going to make me more successful in the future." And that right there is that fire King of Wands energy to me. Like, it doesn't even matter. Like, I'm totally secure in myself, so I can take a risk here and there. That's it. That's what I have. I'm really grateful for you if you watch this. Thank you. Have a good one.